Hey, happy Monday. Thanks for joining us today. We are kicking the week off with a lot of active weather, okay? So we've got storms expected later on this afternoon and evening. We've got another round of storms expected tomorrow and then again on Wednesday. So we've got several rounds in the forecast here. A major outbreak today, large hail, intense tornadoes, and destructive wind likely. Strong, long-lived tornadoes, EF2 or even stronger, are likely here as well. So we're going to be tracking those storms all the way through the afternoon hours, and we're going to be tracking and making sure that those storms, that you are aware of those storms. So several rounds of storms to follow. We're watching this. No, it's right there. Yep. You still got it. Yep, there we go. And then several rounds of storms to follow. So not only on Tuesday and Wednesday, but also today. And you can hear me talking behind the scenes there. Joey is producing today, so we were talking a little bit about the forecast, or about the graphics that you see. But let's get to it. So what did we see yesterday? We saw some hail and some wind across the northern portions of Mississippi. But really, the biggest story yesterday was from the storms across northern Nebraska. A really, really impressive tornado across northwest Nebraska. We followed that storm all the way into the late night hours last night. And then as we headed into the early morning hours, that became more of a wind event. Hey, brand new information here. We officially have a severe thunderstorm watch in place, highlighted there in yellow. So that'll be for northern Iowa into Minnesota, just to the south and west of Minneapolis. We have a low pressure system with an extending cold front all the way down the plains. So you can see that we've got a very large area that we're watching for severe storms today. This cold front will be the initiator for storms later on this afternoon. Got a warm front out ahead of that that's kicking up a few storms right now in the northern portion of Iowa and western side of Minnesota. Now, current conditions across the south, pretty quiet. Kansas, also pretty quiet out there. So pretty quiet for most of us, other than that severe thunderstorm watch. There's your low pressure system. Temperatures are 62 in Minneapolis today, pretty nice, 74 in Kansas City. It's warm here in Oklahoma City at 74 as well. Warmer than average today, but we've got that cold weather that's trying to move through tomorrow and even on Wednesday. That'll be coming behind that cold front. But ahead of that cold front, we have severe storms to watch out for. So we have a level 4 risk up in the northern portion of Iowa into Minnesota and into Wisconsin. We have a level 3 risk highlighted there in orange for not only the northern upper Midwest, but also down into the southern plains. So let's kind of take a look at your timeline. We'll take a look at the wide view right now, and then we'll go and zoom in city by city here in just a few minutes. But you can see that most of those storms will start to fire up in the afternoon and evening hours, continuing through the late night hours tonight, at some point going from a hail and tornado risk and into a wind risk. So let's take a look at tomorrow's risk as well. We've got a level 3 and enhanced risk highlighted there in orange that goes anywhere from southern Oklahoma into Texas, and then up to the northeast, anywhere from Ohio all the way into Pennsylvania, and even New York included in that, near the Great Lakes. Tomorrow's risk will most likely come through the daytime and into the afternoon hours. It's going to be a little bit different with several rounds of storms in the forecast, especially places like Oklahoma. You're going to see round after round after round of storms. We have plenty of moisture surging into the Mississippi Valley all the way into the southern plains. Tons of moisture associated with this front coming through. And with that, we have a really good chance for hail. So let's get to your hail risk first, and then we'll get to that tornado risk. The deeper the colors here, the more likely for larger hailstones. So what we're watching for here are those dark reds, even kind of getting into the purples at some points. We've got a great risk, one of the best risks, one of the best widespread risks that I've seen in quite some time, anywhere from this afternoon to the evening hours. Watch northern Oklahoma and southern Kansas this afternoon. Whew. Very, very impressive hail risk here, anywhere from Oklahoma City all the way into Wichita, and that's reflected on your hail forecast today. So here's your hail forecast. 2.5 inches or larger, I think, expected in northern Oklahoma to the southern side of Kansas. Still large hailstones right around the size of a tennis ball, anywhere from the western side of Oklahoma all the way up to northern Iowa and into southern Minnesota. A really, really good chance for large hail in these areas. But even those areas with smaller hail, and I say smaller as a relative term, it's still large hail up to the size of a golf ball, anywhere from Midland, Texas, all the way into the northern plains. A lot of people impacted by these storms today. We can zoom in and you can see your city by city forecast. Des Moines, Minneapolis, Duluth, Sioux Falls, all in those categories for a high or extreme risk for storms today producing large hail. As you go down to the south into places like Kansas City and Wichita, I brought that risk level down into that yellow category, that moderate level 2 category. Now places like Oklahoma City are a little interesting because I think if you took this purple risk right here, split it in half on the west side of this risk, I would put this in the high category for storms today, especially down in places like Weatherford, Oklahoma. However, if you go farther out to the east into places like Wichita and Oklahoma City, that risk for storms for hail goes down. Taking a look at Wichita Falls, still a really good chance to get up to golf ball size hail, if not even larger in this area. I think golf ball size hail will be a very common thing to see though. Abilene and Midland in that level 2 or level 3 category. So what is your max forecasted hail size for today? Up to softball size hail, 3.5 inches or larger. That is a massive hailstone. However, it is not out of the question. Actually, what we saw late last week in places like Texas, West Texas, on both Thursday and Friday, we had hailstones up to 5 inches in size. So that's 3.5 inches is small compared to those 5-inch hailstones. Either way, large hail is expected for today. Baseball, softball size hail possible. Taking a look at that wind forecast, high wind expected anywhere from, I would say, 75 to 80 miles an hour from the northern plains all the way down to the southern plains. I have Des Moines, Minneapolis as some of your highest risk areas. Tornado risk. This is going to be one of the biggest risks that I really want you to be aware of today, okay? So this is going to be the most extreme, the most dangerous risk on your forecast. What we're watching for, especially farther up to the north, into places like northern Missouri, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, we have a level 4 risk, highlighted here in pink, anywhere from Milwaukee all the way up to Minneapolis. So not only do we have a really good chance for storms, that's what this shows you. It shows your chance for storms. Your chance is highest up here in that pink. But it also shows you the risk for strong to intense tornadoes. So that means level EF2, EF3, or higher. And where is that? That's where we see those hatched marks. You see that right there. That's what we call a hatched mark or a hatched risk. In these areas, we can see intense tornadoes, EF2 or stronger. So this tells you a lot, but on not only the likelihood to get those storms, but also the likelihood to get strong storms out of this. Zooming in so that you can see your city here, not only in the northern portion of the plains, but also all the way down to the south. So let's talk timing. Right now we have an all hazards risk. Tornadoes are possible, high wind possible here, large hail possible, anywhere from the northern portion of Iowa all the way through the western side of Minnesota. However, you're going to see several rounds of storms today. This is not your only round of storm possible. You could see storms once again later on this afternoon and evening. That second round will be that round most promising for those intense tornadoes, high wind, and large hail. So this is the most dangerous extreme round that we're going to see today. I think that the best chance to see the strongest storms will be between about 7 and 11 o'clock tonight. Let's restart that radar and let's show you again, but now in the southern side of the U.S. So we're talking about Texas to Oklahoma here. Once again, looking at this model, seeing those isolated storms anywhere from northern Texas all the way into southwestern Oklahoma through the afternoon and evening hours. As the sun goes down, we get to some more populated places like Oklahoma, Moore, Norman. You'll see those storms after at least 8 o'clock tonight. Again, the best time for storms to produce intense tornadoes, large hail, will be between that 7 and 11 o'clock time frame. Moving on to tomorrow, because that's not the only chance for storms we have. I told you we had several rounds of storms here. We have that significant hail model really focused on Oklahoma and Texas tomorrow, but you can see some yellows that are brought up even into places like Kentucky and Ohio. But still, as we get later on in the day, that hail risk will be focused down into Oklahoma and Texas. You still have 2 areas of significant severe weather here, one down to the south, Oklahoma and Texas, the other up to the north, into the northeast, and upper Midwest. So that level 3 risk highlighted in orange, level 3 risk highlighted in orange down to the south. We've got a line of storms here that will not only be going on in the afternoon hours, but also in the morning, okay? So usually we expect storms to be in the afternoon. Tomorrow, I think that we could see those storms as early as 7 o'clock. I mean, we can see those storms very early, left over from overnight stuff that we have tonight. This will continue as we head into Wednesday. Ooh, we've got a little messed up hail forecast here. So sorry about that. You know what I'll do? Because these graphics are a little messed up here, I will post these in our Facebook comments and on Facebook so that you guys can still see that hail and that wind forecast for tomorrow. I apologize about that mess up here. I do know that our tornado forecast is correct though. So here we go. Here's your tornado forecast for Tuesday. Abilene to Oklahoma City, we've got that level 2 risk highlighted there in yellow. Level 2 on a scale of 5. And that level 1 risk including Oklahoma City and into Tulsa. Not the only risk for storms. I told you with 2 areas that we were watching for today. Columbus to Cleveland, Ohio, and then all the way up in the western side of Pennsylvania and the western side of New York included in that level 1 risk for tornadoes tomorrow. All right, let's go back through one more time with your future radar. You can see that storms are popping up in the afternoon hours. Anytime after about 3 o'clock is whenever we'll see that evening round of storms start. This will continue through the late evening hours after sundown, and even as early as tomorrow morning. You can see that storms are continuing even into the early morning hours tomorrow. We're talking about your morning commute. Stay weather aware. As we head into tomorrow afternoon, we have redeveloping storms out on the western side of Oklahoma, and then you can see that the storms continue in a line all the way up into places like Ohio. Even these line of storms could produce tornadoes, so if we see an MCS form, you could have those embedded tornadoes that are very hard to spot. They could be more like spin-up tornadoes, so that means that your reaction time has to be fast, right? This will continue through the overnight hours tomorrow and even into Wednesday. Check this out in Oklahoma and Texas. By early Wednesday morning, we are still watching for those storms across the central and western portions of the state. So even Wednesday has a risk for severe storms. So let's go through that. Here's your risk on Tuesday. Here's your risk on Wednesday. Oklahoma and Texas, including Dallas here. So Dallas, all of those watching from DFW, you are included in a risk on Wednesday for large hail. After that, rain continues. However, we don't have a risk issued by the SBC yet. And I say yet, that big all caps yet. Because usually we talk about storms into the end of the work week, especially whenever we're in a pattern active like this. I do think that we're going to get another risk in here. We're just too far out to tell right now. Models, the closer that we get to these storms by Thursday and Friday, models will catch up and they'll give us more information on the storms that we're expecting later on in the work week. So make sure that you come back day after day for the most updated and accurate forecast. All right, let's talk temperatures here. I told you we'd see a bit of a cool down as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday. Still a severe risk. You know, oftentimes we say cooler weather means that that's going to mitigate your severe risk. I still think that we could see strong to severe storms, even with temperatures in the 60s. High wind, it looks like it's going to be pretty gusty for a good portion of the U.S. as we head into Monday and Tuesday, tomorrow. High wind farther out into the Midwest. And looking on into the first week of May, okay, this is May 3rd through the 7th. Why is it important to see those long-term outlooks? This gives us a look a week from now. What are we expecting May 3rd into the 7th in terms of severe weather? Well, we need heat, right? We need warm temperatures for severe weather. We also need moisture. And it looks like, given these two graphs right here, temperatures are going to stay above average, warmer than normal, and we're going to get more moisture than what we normally see, especially through the plains right here and then out to the west. So yes, I do think that this severe activity could continue through the first week of May. So stay up to date with your forecasts. Of course, we will keep you updated. We will continue to post forecast updates on our social media pages. So follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. And if you're interested in a hail, wind, or tornado map, maybe one that we did yesterday, maybe one that we did 5 years ago, we have that for you. Give us a call at 855-334-4245 to get set up with a plan. Or email us at info@hailtrace.com. You can even head over to hailtrace.com for more information. We do have meteorologists in office right now, ready when those storms will fire. We also will have meteorologists in office overnight tonight, late into the evening hours, late overnight tonight. They will be staffed even through early tomorrow morning. We staff meteorologists 24/7 here at Hail Trace. So if you need a map through the overnight hours, we'll be mapping it. All right, thanks for joining us today. We'll see you back here, same time, same place for your forecast tomorrow.